There we go.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining today. We'll be doing these final hours every 2 weeks, and we'll have a different partner, a different vendor that we're working with at Gembah, and someone we feel that is a great a complement to the product journey that you all are on, and can really aid in the power of sharing the power of creation. To give you a little bit of background about myself, I'm a co-founder here at Gembah. And I was on the show Shark Tank, so I've guided my own product journey throughout the years, and have had the experience of what it's like to go from the beginning of a concept and all the way to market. And this topic of payments and inventory financing speaks home to me quite a bit, so I can definitely give my experiences along the way. But very fortunate to have TJ Hyland here with us today, who's the head of e-commerce partnerships for Payoneer. TJ, thank you very much for joining us today. And TJ is responsible for all of the e-commerce partnerships for Payoneer in North America. And his primary focus is to build the North American partner ecosystem and to support entrepreneurs as they grow their brands. TJ, thanks for joining us today and your time.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, we have about 20 minutes to run through the presentation. I wanted to, from my experience to start is, I've been on the side of massive exchange rate fluctuations. Also been on the side of extremely high transaction fees when dealing with international transaction. I've been on the side of transferring money to the wrong factories. I've been on the side of being involved in a phishing scheme where somebody had actually messaged me and I transferred money to the wrong, in this case, Stephen Bluestein. I know, I'm TJ Hyland today, but the wrong Stephen Bluestein. So, I've had quite a bit of my struggles throughout the year. So I'm really excited to talk with you and hear what y'all have to present at Payoneer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely touch on the international payment side in terms of payouts, but also pay-ins if you're selling on those international marketplaces. And then, as you touched on, talking about the world of capital and in the online selling world, it's almost the thing that you can't have enough of. And when we talk about sellers and brands and what that looks like, it's the $1 million need, right? So I'm happy to jump in and let's just start. I think if anyone's not as familiar with Payoneer, we've been around for 15 years now. We actually announced last month that we're planning to go public, which is a really exciting opportunity. And what that means for our businesses is that we now have more money to invest back into the products that we use and that we have for our clients, and diversify and all that good stuff. But at the core, what it is our mission is to empower businesses to go beyond. And as it says there, go beyond borders, beyond limits, beyond expectations. So for you as a, say, US business, for example, to start from A and how to get to B, beyond what you thought was possible in X time frame, beyond borders in terms of, if you're just selling in the US and you're doing really well, how do you take your business to be a national brand to an international brand? And that's what we're looking to do, to support businesses of all size and all opportunities.
Yeah, because I think also, I think people along the journey, that's often, I just want to raise a bunch of money, right? But we don't think about kind of the little steps along the way that actually can free up more capital or allow you to do even more, with what you have. So I imagine, that's a little bit of how Payoneer helps you as well, right?
Yeah, we'll talk on the capital front, but in reality, what we're doing is giving you and sort of injecting or allowing you to inject cash into your business at the times of most need. So whether that is on the inventory front, or perhaps it's digital advertising, or you need to hire a freelancer to do X, Y, and Z, you as the business, you as the entrepreneur need to focus on exactly that, the business and the entrepreneur side of things, and creating products or whatever your ultimate strategy is, not necessarily customer service emails from Amazon, right? So offloading the unnecessary, focusing on the necessary to grow the business.
Awesome.
So just a little bit further on to Payoneer, we are truly a global company. We have 24 offices around the world, headquartered out of New York, but a large presence in both Israel and Hong Kong. So we have clients from over 200 countries. This is actually last year's deck, so we need to update this, but in 2020, we have paid out over $44 billion in volume. So pretty significant numbers, and probably what led to us going public. But so we have over 5 million account users, and as I'll show on the next slide, they really range across a variety of spectrum. So, on one part of our business, we focus on working with the marketplaces. So the Amazons, the Amazons, the Wish, the Walmart, the Price Minister, and the Cdiscounts. On the other side, we work with the businesses that sell on those marketplaces. So it puts Payoneer in a really unique position to kind of sit in between the two and facilitate growth on those marketplaces, whether it's Amazon internationally, other domestic markets in the US, other markets outside the US. And then also from a business perspective, we also handle or help a lot of freelancers and gig economy workers get paid. Where we work with Upwork and Fiverr and all those kind of guys.
So you mean that basically if I go on one of these platforms, then if I'm struggling making payments, or if I want to make payments easier, I can use the Payoneer tools in order to initiate those payments?
So in terms of the marketplaces, what we do is it's more behind the scenes. You don't necessarily know that. We are more a facilitator of them. But what it does is it allows us to have the relationship with them. To Walmart sellers, if you're already selling on Walmart, you're actually already a Payoneer client. You already have a Payoneer account. So if you want to get started with any of the things we talk about later on today, you're already set up. Minimal hassle, minimal work from there. Some of them have other features in terms of enabling people to make payments out of the accounts, which we'll touch on too.
Awesome.
And this is the last sort of introductory slide, but ultimately, as one of the earlier slides said, so one platform, and really kind of bringing everything together for an online business, giving you the ability to send and receive international payments, access that capital, make payments out, whether that's to suppliers or vendors or VAT or any sort of obligations that you have to make. One platform where you can convert the funds that you need and reconcile your payments, kind of not having to go here and there and here and there. And it's growing pretty quickly. So I think it's an interesting opportunity for us. So the one thing that I did want to talk about was exactly that, the international opportunity. So, if you're a client of Gembah and, you've launched your next product and you're ready to go, you're seeing tremendous success in the US, and it's like, okay, have I reached my ceiling? What's next for me? And I think one of the good parts to look at is that Amazon and marketplaces is continuing to grow tremendously. There's not really any sign of slowing down. And one of the things that we talk about in terms of marketplace sellers, and specifically Amazon.com, is how competitive it is. Everyone in the world is selling on Amazon.com. But when you look at, say, Amazon UK, Amazon Canada, Amazon Mexico, there's less sellers. So if you have a great brand, have a great presence on the US, and are in a position to do this, you might want to consider selling into these other markets where it's not as competitive, and you have a riper opportunity. Yes, potentially the number of buyers is not as high as the US, but still a significant opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, this graph really puts it in perspective, is to see, really where it's at in the infancy and in terms of the stage. And so, we often talked about it when we were first getting into commerce and seeing Amazon come up, and we looked at it kind of like, oh, it's just Amazon, right? And now as you see this, it's an amazing how much more opportunity around the world there really still is. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and we can touch on it a little bit, but the opportunity in Europe is pretty significant, and what we're seeing from Amazon is additional investment in Europe. Just in the last 3 months or so, they've announced the launch of Amazon Netherlands, Amazon Sweden, and Amazon Poland just last week, I think. So, where there was this rift and confusion about Brexit, when there's the UK and the EU in terms of selling plans and all that, Amazon's continuing to invest in the EU, and I think that sellers and brands should view that as a really good sign. And this is kind of just a recap, but going global kind of opens your business up to a lot more opportunities. So what I wanted to do here was kind of talk a little bit about how Payoneer can help in terms of actually facilitating international business. So what we do is we provide online sellers with receiving accounts in the regions in which they're selling. So for example, if you're a US-based business listing your products on Amazon Canada, you have the opportunity to put your US dollar bank account into Amazon Canada. They'll take the Canadian dollars that you earn, convert to US dollars, and pay back to your US bank account. The only problem is when they do that, they dictate A, the exchange rate that the funds are transferred at, but B, it doesn't give you much freedom or control over your funds if you needed to make any payments out. So in the case of what we do is we'll provide you with a local Canadian dollar account. Amazon or any marketplace really will pay out into local currency, into Canadian dollars. In that case, there's no exchange rate. If you had to pay to the Canadian tax authorities or the UK tax authorities or the European tax authorities, which is a really hot topic nowadays because everyone needs to be tax compliant, or if you had a vendor in the UK or a supplier in Germany, you can use these accounts and these funds that you hold to pay to them. And ultimately what that does is eliminate any double conversions that you might incur. And then ultimately, if you're holding Canadian dollars, or if you're holding British pounds, we would be able to convert them back to US dollars for you at a slightly better exchange rate.
Yeah, because back in the day, you used to make these transactions, and then you would look at your bank account and you would see all your money disappear basically, and you not know where it came from. So I think adding this layer of transparency and giving people the ability to really have commerce outside of their own realm, I think is an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the 9 currency accounts that are on the window there, those are the ones that we are able to hold funds in. If you are based in another country, say you're based in the Caribbean, which I saw a chat question come in, you could hold your funds in British pounds and then convert back into whichever currency you like. We can pay out into over 150 different currencies around the world.
Awesome.
And so this is kind of the example of what I was talking about, right? So you receive your funds in, and let's just do the example here. So you receive your funds in from Amazon, and if you were going to use Amazon's currency converter solution, they usually charge 2.5% to 3.5%. But those funds now sit in your US bank account. Now you have a supplier in Germany that you need to go pay, right? Or in Europe or in Canada. Now you have to go use either your bank or a money transfer service or whatever it may be. Depending on the amount in which the transfer you're going to make, those percentage points are going to add up. And as we know, in the online selling world, every single percentage absolutely matters to the bottom line. So what we could do here is eliminate that double charge, essentially eliminate this funds touching back to the US bank account in between, and the funds go directly from Amazon to Payoneer, same currency, no transaction, and then out to your supplier, whether it's in the same currency, in a different currency. There's a couple options there. And this is kind of just to give a broader overview of kind of the opportunity, right? So we're about to touch on the CapitalAdvance product. So on the left-hand side here, it's funds coming into your account, whether it's from the marketplace, from your own business, whatever it may be. Your funds are now sitting in your Payoneer account. The CapitalAdvance is like funds injected to a cash flow to help with your cash flow. And then what it is you can pay out. You can pay out to VAT solutions, you can pay out to another Payoneer account. And why that I think that's pretty unique is any payment from a Payoneer account to another Payoneer account is completely for free. It's what we call an in-network payment. So if you had a supplier in China who also had a Payoneer account, you could pay them directly, and they would actually incur any sort of FX fees when they withdrew the funds. But then usually what they like is the ability to hold those funds in whatever currency that they have, because they don't want to transfer back into Chinese yuan. But then, like I said, to the VAT solution, right? So if you held those pounds, then you don't want to have to make a international wire being charged 6, 7, 8, 9, 10% on a couple $1,000 payment.
Yeah, and the merchant fees add up super quickly, right? So I think it's, being smart about how you transfer your currency and planning around that is really a huge opportunity for a new entrepreneur.
Yeah, we can skip over this slide a little bit, but it's just, touching on some of the partners that help. Like when you go international or you're looking to expand your business, it's not something that you would look to do by yourself, right? So VAT and taxes is absolutely something you need to pay attention to, whether it's shipping or returns or warehousing or translation, localization, all sort of considerations that you need to make. And, there's a lot of businesses out there that facilitate that process.
Awesome.
And I've touched on a bit of this, but just working through kind of where Payoneer sits in terms of the value props. And I think, the partner network, what I just touched on is, if we can't do it, somebody that we work with can definitely help you and obviously make those connections, because, entering a new market or whatever that seems like is a scary, daunting task. After you figure out and evaluate if it's right for you, there's still a lot of questions going on. At the same time, we talk about making payments and in-network payments and introduction to some marketplaces. All things we've talked about is, kind of the value prop of Payoneer here.
Awesome.
Cool. So this is the meaty part that I think will resonate pretty well with a lot of Gembah clients, because who doesn't love money and who doesn't need money as an online seller and online business? So looking here is, I guess a little bit of background is, in 2018, after a significant amount of customer feedback, is, what do you need to grow? How can we help you grow your business? And, we talk about helping people expand, but you can only expand if you have the capital to do so, right? So what we've done is we've created our own working capital solution. It's actually called CapitalAdvance. And what we do is we actually advance sellers based on their future sales receivables. And it's eligible if you're selling on Amazon or Walmart. And it's actually Amazon US, UK, and any of the European ones. And so, for example, if you are selling, $10,000 a month, we have two different products, which I'll get into, but you'd be eligible for up to $10,000 advance to be deposited into your account right away, and then you pay it back based on a gradual repayment cycle. But just to talk about here a little bit of the eligibility side of things. So, this is for the, not the brand new seller. You kind of have to have proven yourself a little bit. You have to be selling for at least 6 months on either Amazon or Walmart to do so. And then the information on the right is just essentially you have to be a seller in good standing. We have a couple metrics. Some of those on the right there just saying, oh, that actually says a year. So we've actually lowered that 6 months now. But just have to be a seller in good standing. You can't have too many late shipments or pre-cancellation orders or anything like that.
Yeah, so, this is a huge advantage as well. I mean, I know from our perspective too, as we were growing PrideBites, we did this many times in order, especially going into Christmas season or different seasons where we were expecting to have a big pickup in orders. It's awesome to be able to, deploy some extra capital and go out and buy some extra inventory and plan ahead, so that we were, not only on the planning part from inventory, but also on the shipping logistics. It all plays downstream that, you save all around if you can plan accordingly. Yeah,
and that's exactly it. And I think the point, or one of the great parts of this, is there's no real restrictions on what you can use the funds for. So if you as a business, we probably say like 80 to 85% of the businesses do use it for inventory, making that advance payment to a supplier, or, a lot of times they'll say, this order for 100 widgets is $10,000. But if you get 150 widgets, it'll only cost you $12,000, right? So, and that's the opportunity where I know that Amazon sellers and marketplace sellers know how to sell, right? It's you're in here because you know how to sell. Usually the restrictions are on the growth scale are really around the opportunity and the number of products or the number of units that you have to sell. So right now we have two offerings here. So we have our CapitalAdvance Express, which is a little hard to see there, the word Express, and CapitalAdvance Grow. So the CapitalAdvance Express is a 30-day product. So it's meant to be a quick injection of cash, for exactly that. If you needed money to get that good deal or anything like that, what we'll do is advance you those funds, and then it's paid back in two disbursements. So when the disbursement comes back from Amazon, we would take 50% of one disbursement, then in 2 weeks or whatever your cycle is, we would take the other 50% towards repayment. The fee on the CapitalAdvance Express is just a flat 1.5%. The CapitalAdvance Grow, obviously a little bit more, the volumes are more, the term is a little bit longer. So what we'll do is it works out to be about a 100-day product. And it varies for every business because of the collection cycle. So we're taking just 35% of each payment from each disbursement from each marketplace. So every 2 weeks or whatever your cycle is, we would take in 35%, still leaving you as a business with 65%. And then the one thing I want to clarify that people sometimes get confused with, that's not a 35% fee. That's just the amount that we take of the disbursement to go back towards the original advancement amount. The fee on that one is usually 3.5% to 5%, just depending on the amount of the advance.
Awesome.
Yeah, just skip over this one. We'll go to the next one. Just it's a little bit more visually appealing. So when we look at CapitalAdvance Grow, so this is just an example of kind of what I was talking through. So say day one, you're eligible. This is what it is. We advance you $100,000, which is the green on the left there. Now there's a grace period, and then every 2 weeks, whenever your disbursement comes in from Amazon, we would take a percentage of that to go back towards the collection. So in the first instance, the marketplace payment from Amazon or Walmart was $30,000. Taking 35% of that, we would take $10,500, leaving the rest for you as your business to operate, your normal costs, whatever it may be. Every 2 weeks, kind of as it goes, then we would collect the full $100,000 that we advanced you in the beginning, plus the fee. In this case, it was 4%, so $4,000. And then what happens is the next day or the next week, you're ultimately eligible for another offer. And that's the really interesting part is, this product has been live for about 1.5 years. And on an annual basis, we're seeing businesses take, I think it's 2.2 advances. So more than one. So basically taking the money, injecting into your cash, and then moving on and filling it up and taking another one. And Stephen, this ties back to a little bit of what you were talking about. So, every time of year you'd use your funds for different purposes, right? So Q4, Q2, Q3, maybe more about, the expansion or getting ready for Q4 and sales and stuff like that. Q4, perhaps you're more about the digital advertising side of things and making sure your position's right and PPC management. And I think what it also is towards the end of Q4, like mid-December, you might have to already start be placing that order with your supplier, especially if you're ordering from China, because Chinese New Year is usually the first week of February. So obviously there's going to be people are going to start ordering in January, but if you can get ahead of that, be top of the list, you can get your products before they shut down for 2 weeks in February. And you also don't want to be left for those 2 weeks with nothing, because I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but when you run out of inventory, you lose the buy box. All the work that you did to get up here to the buy box is out the window. So, and then you basically obviously a vicious cycle back to Q1.
I'm already getting nightmares from what just happened. You never want to be out of stock. The shipping problems that we all just had and going through the logistic challenges of the last quarter. I definitely hear that. So this is definitely something that rings to me for sure.
Yeah, and then what we talk about like Q through Q2 is and what we see now or are about to see is a lot of businesses using this time to diversify their portfolio, expand to new SKUs, new product line, building the brand further out because you don't want to start building the brand in Q4, whatever that looks like. So yeah, so this is what we've done. Actually, a pretty exclusive offer for Gembah clients, and it's a 10% rebate on your first offer. So any business from Gembah, and I think across the bottom there, I have my faces there, so I can't see. Oh, yeah, across the bottom there is a link where you could click to register your interest, and I think we can put that in the chat as well. So if anybody wanted to do that, but then also my email is there. And you can absolutely email me or my colleague Ben, who may be on here. I'm not even sure if he is, but he
Awesome.
works with me.
Well, I think also something that you touched on as well through this process is, during the months outside of Chinese New Year is when you really go into creation mode, right? Which is something that speaks very true to us here at Gembah. And just a reminder to everyone that Gembah's mission is to really help everybody share the power of creation, and we want you to bring your concepts to us and allow you to travel through our journey and to take your concept all the way to market. So if you have any new ideas or you're looking to expand on your product lines, Gembah is a great way to do that and to do it with ease. So yeah, I think we can now kind of open it up for some Q&A. I know there's some Q&A that's out there. Henrik, are you able to see the Q&A on your side?
Yeah, Stephen, sorry, just one thing, but before you take any Q&A, but the one thing that I often talk about, and it makes sense here, is like whether you're talking about expansion or product expansion, is you should never disrupt your original or your cycle that's functioning so well to expand here. So you have to kind of keep this engine running so you have your business going. And whether you have enough profits, awesome. Then you can use that to create a new product or create a new version or expand to this, expand to that. But if you don't, there's opportunities to have cash flow at your fingertips. And that's kind of what one of the missions here is to, not disrupt your regular business, but sort of be ancillary or supplementary to that. Sorry, Henry.
I think it's a really great point. I think, oftentimes, it is a long journey, and just not everybody just goes off at the very beginning and creates the most profitable business to start. And sometimes there's a lot of ups and downs along the way. And oftentimes one of my favorite quotes from one of my top mentors always told me after he sold his business for a nice exit after 10 or 12 years, he always said, I'm a 10 or 12 year overnight success, right? And I think that's kind of the key to that. And so I think that really rings true to a lot of those that are listening today as well.
And every business is different, right? So whether from a product perspective, from a margin perspective, from a needs perspective, where you're selling, what your costs are. So, I'll be the first to say, like, this product works for a lot of businesses, but maybe it's not right for you. But let's talk and make sure, if you need capital, if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to expand, create new products, we can have that conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So we can try to open up. I'll stop sharing at the current moment. I hope everyone gets an opportunity to screenshot the offer here today from TJ and team, and takes advantage of what they have to share.
Yeah, so I put the link in the chat as well. So if anyone wanted to click on that and fill that out, essentially what you would do is just fill out the information to speak to our team to learn a little bit more. You're not necessarily committing to anything, of course.
Absolutely. So just a couple of questions from the chat today. So does this include Caribbean countries like the Bahamas or just those listed there?
So I think that question was in reference to the currency accounts that we support. Like I said, those are the 9 currency accounts in which you can hold the funds. But if you are based in the Caribbean in the Caribbean, we can pay back into your Caribbean bank account from, say, the US even, or from if you're selling in Canada or wherever.
Awesome. Another one of the questions are, so all of our webinars and the final hour will be posted on our Facebook page. So you'll always be able to go to our Facebook page and be able to take these as reference at a later time as well. I know also TJ, I think contact information is available. So if you want to get in touch with TJ, you can do that as well.
Yeah, I'll throw my email in here as well. So just if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot me a note. We can talk. We can speak to my team, whatever it may be.
Awesome. So thanks everyone for joining us today. Henrik, do you have any last final thoughts as we end our final hour?
No, I just posted a quick poll before we end the webinar. If anybody wants us to reach out, just respond to that poll, and then we'll be able to see your contact information. We'll reach back out to you. But awesome. Otherwise, thanks, TJ. This is awesome. Really appreciate it, and we love you guys and appreciate the partnership.
Awesome. Thank you, Henrik. Thank you, Stephen. Like I said, if anyone has any questions, we're trying to figure out what's right for your business, and we can help, feel free to reach out, and happy to have that conversation.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for everyone for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.